The Barbarian inside of Diablo Immortal, the strongest, fastest, and my personal favorite class inside of the game. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my PvE build and modifications that I make when I do any PvP inside of the game. So we're going to start off right here with Frenzy, my primary attack that is my favorite. It's the fastest. I just like it the most. We're also then rocking the skills Sprint, Whirlwind, Wrath of the Berserker, and Sunder. All of these are modified with the essences that we use from the build, which I'm going to share with you. I'm also going to share with you guys the gems I'm using because I focus on not gem resonance, but what we get out of those gems. Keep in mind the gems that I'm using are changing. I will tell you the changes that we're going to be using. But let's start some things out with the secondary pieces of gear. Starting off with the 4-piece Vithu. Love the 4-piece Vithu. Increases the duration of all of your beneficial effects on you and party members by 30%. I actually like this for all classes, even for like a Necromancer class, because it's going to allow all of your skills and what are changing, your focus on those essences, it's going to keep them up longer. Additionally, increases the target's attack speed by 30% for 3 seconds each time you use a skill to grant a beneficial effect to yourself or a party member. We're literally doing that all the time. So we are going to be fast, fast, fast. We are also wearing another 4-piece set. So we're only really rocking 2 different sets, each 4 pieces. The second one is Grace of the Flagellant. This is all continual damage, channel damage, and persistent ground damage is increased by 15%. That's because this build focuses on continual burn damage. Next, with the 4-piece, each time you damage an individual enemy 5 times, so our bigger enemies, you'll deal 10,489 damage additional to that enemy. That's a big hit right there. That is the 4-piece set I'm rocking. If you want to take a look at my charm, it's really nothing too fancy. I got 2% buffs on Wrath of the Berserker, Whirlwind, Frenzy. I'm not using Furious Charge nor Hammer of the Ancients with this build, so you build out your charms as best as you can. I always say don't go too crazy with them, but have fun. All right, let's start off with our headpiece. We're using Spirit Breaker. Notice here, we are going with the Pain Clasp gem. I like the Pain Clasp in this place because it's going to increase the damage dealt by 13% to enemies suffering from continuous damage effect, which is the burn that we're working on here. When an enemy suffering from continuous damage is within 10 yards, your movement speed is also increased. And this is going to bump up to 16% once we get this gem up to rank 6. By the way, worth noting, I recently redid all of my gems. Gems are difficult. When you invest in some, you then lose duplicates for the others. So this Pain Clasp gem, I have to regrind up. I have to get the duplicates, and I'm utilizing the AST runes to make them rather than buy them with platinum. We will get this to rank 10 pretty darn soon, but that is the focus really of what we're doing here with the gem. But now it's about the essence. Sprint also leaves tornadoes in your path that deal 3,000 and change damage to any enemies they strike, and your damage is increased by 90%. This is a farming build. This is a PvE build. It's going to leave tornadoes that are going to play off of the fire. We'll get into that in a moment. Next up, we have Ferocious Gale. Notice here, I'm utilizing a 1-star gem to rank 10, Berserker's Eye. The gem is going to increase the damage I deal by 16% and increases my chance of crit by 2%. I'm going to take an additional 5% damage, but it's worth it for the 16% additional damage I'm doing from Berserker's Eye. I think that's a must use and one that's very accessible to all players, at least for a Barbarian. The essence though, Whirlwind occasionally throws out tornadoes that deal 3,000 and change damage to enemies they strike. Damage is increased by 90% by Whirlwind, and because I have the slot awakened, we're going to get Whirlwind damage increased again by another 10%. So really nice buffs there to Whirlwind. Notice we had 2 pieces with tornadoes. I'm going to show you guys how this all works after we go through the build. I'll show it in the open world. Now we're going with Hell's Legacy. This is a gem I will be swapping out. Currently, I have Everlasting Torment. Your critical hits inflict agony, dealing 30%. I don't like that it only happens for my critical hits. So what I'm going to be putting in place of this is the Blessed Pebble. It's another 1-star gem. I haven't done it yet because I'm waiting, because as you can see, we have an awakened slot. I don't have my Blessed Pebble ranked yet at all. It's literally a rank 1. I just got it. And it is pretty quick for me to do. It's about getting those duplicates and not wanting to spend platinum on the duplicates. So I'm going to just craft them with the runes. So as I run Elder Rifts, we'll craft those, we'll craft Pain Clasps, and we'll do some trick shots, which I'll get to in a moment as well. So this one right here, it's awakened at this point in time, which is why I haven't switched it out. Sprint also leaves a trail of flames, dealing 8,000 damage to enemies over 4 seconds, and the damage is increased by 90%, and the cooldown, because it's awakened, is decreased by 10%. These flames are going to turn the tornadoes that we're having from our chest and from our headpiece, it's going to turn them into, what was it called? Firestorm. And it's going to throw fiery tornadoes at your enemies, which is going to deal a ton of damage. Love that. They synergize well together. Coming on into the pants here, we have Trail of the Morning. I'm going with a Trick Shot gem. This is another 1-star gem. This slot is an awakened slot, but it's not awakened yet because we haven't yet gotten our Trick Shot to 10. Again, waiting on duplicates, crafting them with runes, not in a rush. I am looking forward to getting this to max though, so I can have my awakened bonus. Well, awake again. Trick Shot was out of my build for a while. It was a mistake. It should be in your bar build. Your channel skills consume energy 17% slower, and you take 1.5% decreased damage while using them. That's a really solid buff that you're going to be getting. Now, what we're using here, the essence, Sunder now also pulls enemies to you. The cooldown is reduced by 3.6. Now, I don't think that this essence is massive, but I do like utilizing Sunder because Sunder is going to make us do more damage. I believe it's 25% more damage when used to any enemies that we're attacking. It's great when you're going against yellows, when you're going against elites, when you're going against bosses. Sunder makes them drop more damage. You do take a little bit more damage, as you can see right here. Briefly launch into the air, you deal that much damage, and also, actually I was wrong, damage to all enemies in the area while also increasing all damage they take by 30% for 6 seconds. So I'm going to be able to deal 30% more damage to any of the enemies that are hit with Sunder. So I like using it, and we'll just have all those enemies get pulled in with the pants. That's the best essence we could use right here. Bitter Wind. We have a Fervent Fang. I have it ranked up to 9, and it's a 2-star gem. I'm just waiting on getting more Fervent Fang gems. Remember, you could only get these ones from the Battle Pass, even the free Battle Pass, and from my Boon of Plenty. So I need to get a handful more of those to get them up to the next level. I like Fervent Fang because each time you deal damage to an enemy, that enemy now takes 2% increased damage from your attacks, up to a max of 20% at 10 stacks. This is also going to go up one more time. Also, you increase all damage to elite bosses and enemy monsters by 6%. So, absolutely love that one. I think it's a must-use for someone that's a big-time damage dealer. The legendary essence, Whirlwind, now draws on the power of the wind to deal increased damage while no longer reducing your movement speed, and the damage is increased by 18%. If you use Whirlwind, Bitter Wind is a must-use essence. It's going to make your Whirlwind twice as fast with more damage. It's gonna make you quicker across the map, and it's not gonna slow you down. We're going with our secondary. We have Sundred Legacy. This is the one 5-star gem that I'm working on right now. It's actually 3 out of 5, and I have very close. I need to buy one more Blood-Soaked Jade at rank 2 to get it up to the next level. We're very close to that, so we'll have this Blood-Soaked Jade at 5%. Why the BSJ is a 5-star? Increases all damage you deal up by 13% while at full life, with a maximum bonus of 6.7 while at low life. Increases your movement speed by 10%, and you take 2% decreased damage while below 50% life. This gem is just a must-use. It's like the best gem in the game, which is why it's never available in the market, because everyone's using it. You have to really snipe them out of there, and things are just going to get better and better as we upgrade it. It will take time. Now, the legendary essence that we're using in that secondary weapon is Wrath of the Berserker now causes nearby enemies to burn. Wrath of the Berserker damage is increased by 18%. Essentially, there will be fire in a ring around me when I use Wrath of the Berserker, and it's going to burn everything. Remember those tornadoes that we have from the headpiece and the chest piece? More burning going on, plus the trails from Sprint of Fire, burning everything. You're starting to see how this build is actually working here. Then we have our stance weapons. We have a Ritterrule. I have a Mother's Lament. Again, a gem that we are just starting to put together. We need to get copies of it, and that's going to take us some time, but I'm okay with that grind. It's not the biggest deal. I'm good with doing it. I'm using Mother's Lament because when you deal damage, you have a 20% chance to gain Maternal Disdain. Increases your critical hit chance by 16% for 6 seconds. Can occur on every 20. When the disdain ends, you release a blood spike toward nearby enemies, dealing 13 base damage to any enemies you hit and causing them to bleed. More continuous damage effect. And that's only going to get a lot better. Like I said, we have this thing ranked up to rank 3 right now. It's a baby at this point in time. We will get that to max, and we will awaken the slot that it's in. Now, the weapon essence, when Frenzy deals a critical hit, your attack speed is increased by 50% for 3.2 seconds. So it's basically making my primary attack stronger. And our stance secondary, we're using Viper's Bite. Again, a 2-star gem that we can very well awaken the slot of. Literally, we can have 7 of our 8 slots awakened in the next couple of months as we get all of these gems to max. It's something that is very, very doable. The Blood-Soaked Jade will have to wait. This one, damaging enemies poisons them with Viper's Venom, causing them to take 24% base damage and 120 every second for 6. We're talking about 700 damage. Enemies inflicted with Viper's Venom also have their attack speed reduced by 3%. And this one only gets better as well as time goes on. I love this. I actually took out Seeping Bile. Seeping Bile is now a dormant gem. I'm not using it. I think that Viper's Bite is more realistic. It fits a player like myself much better. It's easier to upgrade, and I can focus all of my 5-star upgrades on the Blood-Soaked Jade. And the legendary essence, Frenzy, increases damage you deal to that enemy by 6% for every 3 seconds, stacking up to 30% increase, and the damage of Frenzy is increased by 9%, making my build just that much stronger. Now, with the skills, what will I change out? Only thing I'll change out for PvP is I will change Sunder to Undying Rage. And I will change my pants to a pant that will buff Sprint, making all of my party mates run faster. I typically will keep the rest the same. There isn't an option to heal with Whirlwind. I don't think it's the best. I essentially am just trying to jump on top of the enemies and use Frenzy while burning with Wrath of the Berserker, while maybe throwing tornadoes out while sprinting, although Whirlwind is not the strongest. So you could switch out a few of those essences, but I think what I'm going to do is probably put out another build another day on how to make the most out of a PvP build. But let's actually take this into action and show you guys what it could do. What do we have right here that we could do from our daily? How about let's just run out into the open world. How about that? Does that sound good to you? We'll run out here, we'll find some enemies. Notice we're going to be sprinting through. We'll come Wrath of the Berserker, we're whirlwind through, easy. All taken down, no problem. Here we could even Sunder on them, boom. Whirlwind, Wrath of the Berserker is going to burn. We'll sprint on through again. Everything burns in its path. And then again, something big, we'll use our primary attack. It'll take them down very, very quickly. Let's run up on these guys. We're going to burn them as we go. And then we'll Whirlwind back. Everything gets taken down so easily. Remember, the whole point here is I'm going to let him take that lair. I'll be a nice guy. The whole point here is for us to just run around in circles and burn. This is not the best place for me to demonstrate that, but let's see if I can get my... Oh, here we go. We got a yellow. We'll do Sunder. We'll go Wrath of the Berserker. We'll Whirlwind, and we'll go primary attack. Look at how quickly taken down. This is me sitting with very low resonance, not even near 2,000 resonance right now as I'm using this build. I think that I'm sitting at like 1,300 resonance. Remember, we are very low on resonance because those 2-star gems and even some of the 1-stars, we don't even have them ranked up yet. We'll be able to get ourselves over 2K res once we get ourselves into the right position as we upgrade some of those 2s, which again shouldn't take very long, but again, I'm not in a rush to do it. But this is the whole idea of the build. You find yourself a nice farming spot, you run yourselves in circles, you let things get burned along the way, and your pet can even help you. If you want to see what pet that I'm using, here, let me kill these enemies, I'll show you my pet. I don't really worry too much about the pet right now, to be honest with you, but the pet, the familiar, I should say, that I'm using is right here. Here are the details. He has 2 legendary attributes, which is very nice. His attack, Rain of Stone strikes enemies in front of the familiar, reducing the damage that they inflict. So really not even the best, but I do like using him. The build is getting to be where it needs to be. At least the actual build itself is there. It's just about getting the gems where they need to be so that we can be even more successful. But I love this build. You want to check out the Paragon? I use Treasure Hunter. I have it out to 100. We could also go ahead and use Massacre, which will be very beneficial when we're out there farming as well. It'll keep our kill streaks up. And if we take a look at our Herodrum, this is what it looks like, and that's what we're looking like over there. Basically just grinding that up over time. Hope you enjoy this Barbarian build. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Remember to subscribe for more builds and everything Diablo Immortal.